All right, guys, it is time. It is officially February 15th. It was an amazing day yesterday. We'll talk more about that, but I'm excited. I'm full of energy, full of passion, and full of gratitude as always. I'm excited for our guests. I'm excited for you guys, and I'm excited to be a student as well and learn and have a full stream of consciousness. There's very often, it's seldom that I come across a person when you go to a presentation and it hits in such a powerful way. I've sat through hundreds and hundreds of masterminds. I've gone to all kinds of different workshops and seminars and things all across the United States and other countries like Mexico, so on and so forth. The point is that when Chelsea spoke, when we had her out for Focus and Fire, it was so powerful. I just saw the room light up, and there were some really big people on that stage, but don't tell anybody, Chelsea, you were my favorite presenter of the day. We're going to get into that in just a couple minutes. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to welcome, if you are a guest on the line today for your very first time to Keep It Moving Group Coaching, give me an emoji on the screen just so I know that you're a guest here. It's your first time at a Keep It Moving Group Coaching session. Use the emojis down below to let me know if this is your first time at a Keep It Moving Group Coaching session. Cool. Mark, good to have you here. Looking forward to seeing you and your brother blow it up. I'm excited for your guys' brand. I'm excited for what you guys are going to do in our industry. So welcome. Really quick, is Steffi on the line? Let me see if Steffi is on the line. All right. So Steffi might be. Is she
Yep.
there?
Yep.
All right, guys.
She's on.
Oh, yeah, Steffi, I need your camera on for a second, okay?
Okay, let me put on a shirt. Hold on.
Okay.
Can I do this one for Stephanie?
Hold on, I'll turn it to you in a second. But yes, you can. I'm going to turn it to you in a second.
Can I speak for you for Stephanie?
Hold on, you can, but I'm going to go first.
Right.
Let's let Steffi get close.
Okay, shirt on.
All right. Listen, you guys. Steffi has been showing up. She's been doing the work. She's been following the game plan. She's been posting on social media. She's been coming to the office. She's had some breakdowns, right? She's had some breakdowns, but she's had some breakthroughs. And yesterday, all that hard work, all that grit, all those hard times came full circle, and she got into her first escrow. So let's give her a giant round of applause. Steffi, love you. Kuhn, look at Steffi. We had some time. We've had a conversation last week. I got goosebumps. I know when something hits us if I get goosebumps. So we just want to congratulate you. Kuhn, he wanted to say something. He's like, I got to say something to my sister really quick. So Kuhn, what's up?
Can everybody get off of mute and give Steffi a round of applause? It's been a battle. We all been working hard. Everybody,
Woo!
please.
Congrats.
Come on, let's do
it. Love ya. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. You have no idea. I feel so, happy and proud, but so grateful for this team, because I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. There's so many people that I tapped into as a resource, as guidance. So I just know for a fact that I would not be here if not for this team and the individuals that are in it. So thank you so much.
You know what? Always remember this, right? Because every single client's going to feel really good that we serve them, we help them, we put them in their new home. But remember this moment, and remember every single thing that you were willing to do in order to have what you truly wanted in this business. And don't rest on your laurels. Continue to work your ass off. Continue to show up. Continue to do all the things that led to this moment, because this moment was not yesterday. This moment was a culmination of all the things that you've been doing since you started, before you started, when you came to our event that you found on Eventbrite, and you're like, oh, what is this event? Hi, you guys are cool. And you came to that event. So this is a culmination. It's not a moment. So once again, congratulations. We have nothing but love for you. And I'm excited to see your career grow. So one more time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
everyone. Feel the love. So much love.
All right, Steffi. So you guys, we're going to go right into things today, and I want to share some thoughts and I want to share some sentiment with you. If you've been in the business game I've been in the business game for a long time. I've been in, well, I'm not calling my street pharmacy days business, but I learned a lot about math in my street pharmacy days. However, when I've actually been in business, like actual businesses, since about 18, 19 years old, Well, I remember when I was 19 years old, I got a position in San Diego to work as an inside sales manager for a tech company. And at that time, that was at the height of the .com. I remember the owner of the company said, listen, you have to read 5 books in the next 30 days. I'm going to buy you 2 suits and I'm going to give you 2 months worth of car payments. I'm like, shit, I'll do that. I'm all about it. He handed me a book, and it was before it had been revised, and it was the book called Psycho-Cybernetics. And if you guys are part of the women's group right now that Catalina's putting on, they're reading that book. I highly recommend that you read that book or you listen to that Audible. It's an amazing book. So at an early age, I was introduced to the power of the mind. Well, I didn't catch on. Check this out. That was 19 years old. I didn't catch on until I was about 33 years old. Why? Because everything that I thought I could do was eclipsed by this major ego. And I didn't want to be humble. I didn't want to succumb. I didn't want to surrender. I didn't want to do all the things that we speak about today. And so what I love about Chelsea and what she's going to talk about is really this intersection in your mind and intersection in your heart, and how to make sure that those two things are really coinciding. We talk about habits a lot of the time. And what I want you guys to think about, and Chelsea's going to really, open your eyes to a lot of things or be a great reminder for you. What I want you guys to reflect on is I want you guys to think about habits. And I wrote here that we need to make specific plans for when and where we are going to perform new habits in our life. Let's just take an example for if I want to eat healthy, I want to start writing more, I want to go to the gym, I want to be better at when is that actually going to happen? We're not just going to put it out there and then maybe, hopefully, it's going to somehow appear in our life without some type of plan, without some type of time mechanism that is attached to that, because then it's just words that you're throwing into the air. So what I love about psychology and what I love about what Chelsea's going to talk about is really dialing in the things that you want to create in your life and making this a plan. If you want to go and get fit in your life and have more vitality, more energy, look good, feel better, then when is that planned into your schedule? If you want to eat healthy and lose weight, what are you doing? How are you counting your calories? How are you planning your meals? How are you really researching what is the best way to stay fit and to stay alkalized? So all these different things, right? So I want you guys to know this. In order for you to put a habit into place, it's one thing of saying it. Now you got to attach some times on it and put some deadlines on that. So Chelsea, I'm super stoked for our session today. Like I said, I feel that we're kindred spirits. I had a great time meeting you as well as your significant. We had some dinner afterwards. We were able to chop it up, full stream of consciousness. So you guys, if you don't know Chelsea, I'm going to let her do her introduction. But this woman, above all, she's a coach. She's a leader. She runs a TC business. She has a successful team, but forget all that. That's all important. She's just a genuinely great human being that connects from the heart, that focuses mind, body, and spirit in order to help others elevate in their life. And there's no better platform for us to have her speak. So Chelsea, I'm stoked to have you. I'm ready. I'm a student. So without further ado, let's go right into our guest of the day, Chelsea Wright. Thank you for being here.
Elias, damn, you know how to make a girl feel special, right? I'm so pumped to be here, especially to see so many familiar faces. It was great meeting you guys in person at Focus and Fire. And I don't know if you remember, but kind of where we left off in our last conversation was all about like self-betrayal. And I don't know about you, but that presentation, like when I first started working on it, it hit me like a full freight train, right? Looking and taking inventory at our life and taking inventory of all the broken promises that we are making every day and all the ways in which we're not choosing ourselves. And there's something like in the air these days with like Valentine's Day just being, yesterday. And I kind of just wanted to like lift you guys a little bit higher, and not leave you kind of in that like, oh crap, like I now know in all the ways that I'm messing myself up, what do I do? So today we're going to talk about self-love. Does that sound okay? Yeah, rad. I'm going to share my screen. As far as who I am, you have my credentials. The best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram, like a true millennial. I am super approachable, super accessible. You can talk to me about anything. I've had all the jobs in the industry. So you got a question, hit me up. This is kind of a little recap for what we talked about last time, because I know that not everybody was able to make it to Focus and Fire. Here is what self-betrayal looks like. Self-betrayal is something that we all are capable of doing and that we do on a frequent basis. Even if you think that you've like mastered this, I promise you, you have it in some area of your life or some relationship. The way that self-betrayal first became like apparent to me was when I was looking at imaginary fight I got into with my partner. It was like super late at night. It was raining. It was wet. It was miserable because I'm in Portland, Oregon, right? And my dog wanted to go to the bathroom. And I like looked at my dog and I'm like, you know what, bro, it's not happening. Like that is my boyfriend's job and he's going to be home in like 15 minutes. And my gut was like, walk the dog, right? Just walk the dog. What's the big deal? Walk the dog, be cold, get over it, just do the thing. And instead, I doubled down. I doubled down on not walking the dog. And I created this entire story to justify me not doing my own idea, right? Did my boyfriend at any point text me and go, hey, will you walk the dog before I get home from work? No. No, my dog walked up to me. I thought, hey, I should walk him. And then I thought, hell no. And now here we are on this whole spiral of inflating his faults, inflating my own virtue, justifying my behavior, and then like blaming the situation, right? So like, this is kind of what it looks like. I think I should walk the dog. And then I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. And then I'm like, as a matter of fact, my boyfriend, it's the only job he has. He's so lazy. Like he doesn't even take out the trash. This is like the one thing he has to do, right? And, you know, I don't remember him asking me if he could do something for me recently, right? And so I'm like creating this like list of faults on this person I love. And then on the flip side, once I'm done with that, I'm like, oh, and also I have to get up really early tomorrow. In fact, I should just go to bed right now because I'm really important and I've got big meetings and I work really hard. And you know what? I'm just as tired as he is and blah, blah, blah. Right. And so I'm like creating all of these like virtues for myself that like gets me off the hook from having to execute on my own idea. And then I'm justifying my behavior. I'm like, actually, didn't I walk the dog yesterday for him? Didn't I? I walked the dog already 3 times today. Like, this isn't even my dog, right? So like you're justifying, you're betraying your own idea. And then you're like, maybe if the weather was nicer, I would do it. Actually, if he had done X, Y, or Z, then I totally would have done, you know, ABC. And so we do this with other people. I hope you followed that story. We do this with other people, but we also do it with ourselves. So like you've had the thought, like, I should work out. And then you're like, well, every time that I've gone to work out in the past, I just like give up, or I'm super inconsistent, or, you know, I just like, I don't fit in at the gym. Like, I'm not athletic. I'm not this, I'm not that. And you inflate your faults. And then because that feels like crap, you lift yourself back up and you're like, actually, I'm not all that bad. I'm not all that bad. You know, I work really hard in other areas. In fact, I eat really clean. I drink a lot of water. I get good sleep. I do yoga like once a week, right? And so you start to inflate like the parts of yourself that let you off the hook. And then you justify your behavior. You justify not going and working out. You justify not creating a healthy routine. And you're like, well, now's just really not a good time. I would totally work out if it weren't for my kids. I would totally work out if it weren't for my clients texting me at all times. I had that showing on Saturday, so I couldn't possibly go to my class because clients come first. And you're justifying your behavior. And then you get to that place of blame. And you're like, actually, none of this is my fault. If I had more money, then I could afford to have a gym membership. Or if I, had a more supportive partner at home, then I could afford to take some time away from the kids. Or if I had blah, 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 right? Has anybody else experienced this like self-betrayal spiral? Yeah. So this is what we talked about last time. And today we're going to talk about self-love. And let me tell you, when I Googled like self-love images, I don't recommend it. Like there are a lot of women hugging themselves. That's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about bath bombs. We're not talking about drinking your wine. That's not remotely close to what we're talking about. I want you to really consider for yourself what self-love means to you, because by the end of this conversation, I think it's going to change. So like, consider it for a second. What does self-love mean to you? Type it in the chat, because chat, if you don't know me, is a bit of my love language. And I would love for you guys to like have a conversation with me. So what's self-love mean to you? Drop it in the chat. Here's what I have gathered on self-love. Felisa says exercise. I love that. Doing what I say I'm going to do. Amen. Speaking words of kindness to myself, self-acceptance, meditation, putting myself first. Yes, you guys. Self-love boils down to the internal thoughts and feelings that we're having about ourselves. So it is the act of forgiveness and grace when you mess up. It is having pride in yourself and acknowledging your wins. It is trusting yourself and practicing self-confidence. Self-care, the thing that we're like constantly marketed, right, is the actions of caring for ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And I'm not, again, talking about wine. I'm talking about setting healthy boundaries. I'm talking about keeping your promises to yourself, taking care of your body, meeting your basic needs. If you remember our last talk, I highly recommended therapy. I stand by it. If you don't have a therapist, consider getting one. It's life-changing. Not just any therapist, by the way. Like, you can't just go on to BetterHelp and click and be done. Like, that's not how this works. It's grueling. You got to choose somebody. It's hard work. The truth of the matter is that self-love is unconditionally accepting yourself. Now, in the real estate space, the number one fear that most people experience is fear of failure. If you had super, super, super strong self-love, how does failure come into the equation? It doesn't, right? Because if you love yourself, no matter the outcome, failure is just another experience. It's non-existent. And so I oftentimes will get like real estate leaders or agents who come to me and they're like, Chels, I'm really struggling. I'm really stuck. I'm really, I feel like I'm failing, or I'm afraid of failure, or feel like I have imposter syndrome, or I'm worried about what other people would think about me. And I've got news for you guys. Your concern about what other people think about you is just your way of ignoring what you think about you.
Say that one more time.
You're afraid of being found out. And that's because you know that your actions, your decisions, your choices do not align with who you desire to be, who you are capable of being. When your self-love is there, you don't worry about what other people think, because you know there's nothing to find out. You're a whole human. Humans have flaws. So the next time you find yourself worrying about what other people think, pause and really consider, am I worried about what they think, or is there something that I think they're going to think that I actually believe? I know that got really meta for you, but did you follow? All right. Self-love is unconditionally accepting ourselves. So how do you start loving yourself more? There's a few things that I like to work on when I'm trying to boost my self-love. The first one is a judgment detox. This comes from the Gabby Bernstein book, Judgment Detox. If you have not read that book, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I will tell you, it took me several times of picking up the book to get through it because it is just heavy. It calls you out all the way out. And so you have to be in the right headspace for it. If you want to boost your self-love, you've got to ditch comparison. You have to integrate self-discipline, and you need to mind your mind. So a judgment detox, what the heck is that? You cannot judge or influence what you judge. So the way that this started to really make sense for me is I am 2 years sober. Okay. When I go to a party or I don't know, fast headquarters, there is a ton of tequila around. There's tons of people drinking, having a great time. Right. And in no moment in time am I ever judging the people who are having a blast. And that's because it's not my problem. Right? I've solved my problem. I'm sober. I'm not worried about what other people are doing because I'm very clear on what I'm doing. What you judge is a little red flag of something that needs to be resolved within yourself. Okay? And so if you're judging other people for how much they're drinking, you might want to look at your own drinking. If you're judging other people for how hard they're working, you might want to look at how hard you're working. Because you cannot influence what you judge. You cannot change somebody's behavior. You can't even change your own behavior. It's like punching down, right? If you are already in a space where you feel broken or you feel like you're not doing good enough or you feel embarrassed or ashamed or guilty, all change that tries to happen from that space, it's not sustainable. It's very temporary. So if you want to really radically change your life and the life of others, it has to be originated through love. It has to be originated through grace. It has to be originated through patience and understanding and empathy. You can't judge your way there. Does that make sense? And you guys know this, you've experienced this. How many times have you made a mistake and then mentally punished yourself again and again and again for the same exact mistake? Did it make anything any better? Did it stop you from making that mistake again? No, it just gave you the illusion of progress, right? You're like, oh, I'm upset and I'm judging. So I'm aware, and awareness is everything, isn't it? No, y'all, you got to take action, right? So you cannot influence what you judge. If you want to break down the judgment detox exercise and go on a little journey with me, there are 4 questions that I would encourage you to ask. The next time that you find yourself judging yourself or judging someone else, you want to write down who/what are you judging? Then you want to consider, how does this judgment make me feel? Is it giving me the illusion of progress? Is it satisfying some part of my mind or heart that wants to change? Does it make me feel like righteous? Does it make me feel proud? Does it make me feel smarter? How does it make you feel? Why do you feel justified in your judgment? Who told you it was okay to judge this way? And then I want you to ask, what moment in your life triggered you to feel justified in this judgment? So like, think back really long time ago. Like, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, my dad loved to call me lazy. Like, lazy was his favorite insult. Everyone was lazy. No one worked as hard as that man. And when I tell you, like, he's a little lazy, like it was because the mirror, right? Like, he was judging because he needed to fix that in his life. There are experiences that you've had at a variety of ages or moments in time that have set you up to believe that your behavior is acceptable, that your judgment is acceptable, that it's normal. And so you have to go back and time travel and kind of excavate those beliefs, excavate those experiences, see if they have truth, or see if maybe there's something that we need to eliminate completely, right? Like, I'm not going to take a lazy assessment from a man who ate like cereal in his underpants on Saturday morning and watched me do the chores. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. So when you do this exercise, it helps you fully identify exactly how you got this kind of mental model that is keeping you stuck. You're aware that what you judge is a reflection of what you need to work on. Now you know how the judgment makes you feel, what it's doing for you, how it's serving you, and you know where it originated. So you can choose to move differently in the future, right? Another thing that happens when you are in a pattern of like self-betrayal or in a pattern of not doing what you say you want to do, it's because you might be stuck in comparison. You might be living a life that isn't yours, but looks really shiny on Instagram. Comparison can be really helpful in that if used appropriately, it can inspire, right? Like, I know that Kenny and Elias are huge inspirations for me. Like, the way that they lead with their hearts, the way that they take care of you guys, the way that they've set up their business to watch everybody thrive, like, it's an inspiration. And I don't beat myself up for not doing 1 billion in real estate sales, right? Like, that kind of comparison would be devastating. And so you have to consider, are you allowing comparison to knock you down or to lift you up? You also have to consider, if you're going to compare the one thing, you have to compare everything, right? Like, I know a lot of people who hit the real estate stages and they're like, oh my gosh, I've achieved this and I've achieved that and I've achieved this. And their lives are miserable. Like, if you want their life, make sure you want all of their life. Make sure you want their divorces. Make sure you want their bankruptcies. Make sure you want their kids that don't love them. Make sure you want all of it. Be very careful what you compare to. Be very careful what you envy. Inspiration is a much healthier place to operate from, because then you still get to be the author. Right? Arguably, the most important thing in boosting your self-love is self-discipline. Self-discipline, when you think about discipline, it's the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using like punishment to correct disobedience. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about discipline in the traditional sense. Like, you cannot, again, judge, guilt, shame yourself into transformation. You just can't, it doesn't work. Trust me. If it did work, you would have done it by now, right? And so self-discipline, what I think a lot of people struggle with is they see that it requires structure. They see that it requires consistency. They see that it requires sacrifice. And they think, oh, man, I don't have any of that. I don't know. The last time that I tried that, I failed. And so you have to start really small, you guys. Like, you can't go from being a couch potato to having a Navy SEAL level of discipline. There are little steps in between on that journey. And one of my favorite ways of increasing any sort of character that you want in your life, whether that's self-discipline or you want more confidence or you want more peace or empathy or you want more resilience or grit, is to create that evidence. Evidence is like full proof, undeniable proof that is created through your actions. Now, I don't know if I got the chance to share this story, but I wanted to be sober for like 5 years prior to getting sober. I've got oodles of journals with tears running down the pages of just being like, God, this is the year. I'm going to do it this year, right? And what happened is that I actually, because of the stories and the experiences I had, I didn't believe that I could be consistent at anything. And so I sure as hell did not believe that I could get sober. I didn't think I could consistently say no for a really long time. And so I started with something that I knew I could do. I knew that I could go for a walk every day. Quite physically, I can walk. I'm capable of walking. I can walk for 5-10 minutes as long as I got outside every day. I knew that that would create the evidence that I could say yes to something, that I could be consistent at something. And once I had that evidence, I could apply it to my sobriety. I could apply that consistency that I had built up with walking for over 75 days to saying no to something for over 2 years. And so you have to think about, like, where does this behavior or where does this evidence already exist? Like, if you think you're not consistent, babe, you definitely brush your teeth every day. God, I hope you brush your teeth every day, right? Like, you eat, you consistently eat, you consistently drive your car. Like, there are things that you are doing, unless you have butter teeth, gross. You consistently are doing things, you're just not conscious of them. So sometimes bringing that consciousness forward and being like, okay, what do I do really well? Can I apply that same skill set, or can I apply that same effort to another area of my life? And if you're like, Chels, honestly, like, I hear you about brushing my teeth, but that just doesn't move me. Like, that doesn't resonate with me. Then you have to go create the evidence. If you don't have the evidence, you have to go create it. You have to decide for yourself what evidence will move you. What evidence will make you love yourself more? What evidence will make you feel more disciplined? What evidence will make you trust yourself more? Right? The last piece of this is to mind your mind. And I know that that sounds like kind of silly, but the easiest way to figure out what's going on up here is to listen to the words that are coming out of here. If you want to understand the health of your own psychology, start paying attention to the words you use. Start paying attention to the things you say. Everyone has that one friend who just rips themselves to shreds in jokes. And they're like, I'm just joking. And you're like, no, you're not. No, you're not. How do you talk about your goals? How do you talk about your habits? How do you talk about yourself? Are you a self-proclaimed hot mess? It's not cute. You are harming your own psychology. Elias says, someone told me at 27, oh, I lost it. You bring life to the words you use, and I'll never forget that conversation. 100%. Like, your words are the easiest thing for you to change, so that way you can change your mindset. If you just started to carefully choose how you spoke about yourself, how you spoke about others, how you spoke about your opportunities, like, oh my gosh, as a team leader, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know Elias and Kenny would never say this, but it drives me absolutely bananas when someone drops into our chat and they're like, oh, I have 20 showings this weekend. Woo. And I'm like, oh, so you have an abundance of opportunity in a shifting market? Like, cool, way to talk about it. Like, what an inconvenience. Like, if you're talking about your goals as if they're like inconvenient, or as if they're like, you know, not exciting, like, yo, they won't return. So mind your mind. The best way to do that is to mind your words. Yeah. If you want to boost your self-love, you could ignore all the like beautiful detail steps that I just outlined, right? Like, stop judging, ditch comparison, be self-disciplined, you know, mind your words, and keep it as simple as this. You deserve to keep your promises to yourself. Do what you say you're going to do, and you will be amazed at the level of transformation that happens in your life and the lives around you. It's that easy, and it is that hard. Okay. So I know, Elias, you wanted to do a Q&A.
Yeah.
Y'all ready?
I am so ready to hear what people are thinking right now. But a couple things that I wrote down that I thought was really powerful is create the evidence, right? We talk about showing ourselves our receipts, showing our family our receipts, showing the people that we work with and we care about our receipts, and create that evidence, right? It's like when you do a 75-day hard challenge or a fitness challenge, a lot of people are on these challenges. Well, now what you've done is you've proven to yourself that over a course of 75 days, you were able to drink the gallon, to walk the twice a day, to do the 2 workouts, whatever it was. And so now you look back at that 75 days and you're like, look at what I've become. Look who I've become and look what I've accomplished, right? So create that evidence is super important, and that hit for me. And then being able to look at the things that we are already doing in our life. We have many parents on the call today. If you are a parent, we do not do things as parents haphazardly. There's a routine when they go to bed, when they wake up, you stop that, you turn that off. No, you're going to school, you're going to bed. Like, there is routine that we stick to. Why? Because they're counting on us. They're counting on us to do all these things for them. And if we just let these crazy ass baby kids run around, what's going to happen? We're going to let these crazy ass baby kids go into the world and be shitheads. I'm not raising a shithead. And so look at the things that you have true discipline about. That your baby is up, 7 o'clock, brush your teeth, do your hair, get your clothes on, change your attitude, put your smile on your face. We'll go on, bye, honey. Love you. Have a great day at school. That's routine. And then are you doing those same things for yourself? So I absolutely love that. And then the judge detox. I remember when I stopped drinking, it was really, really easy for me to look around at people that were balling out, that were getting drunk, and that were doing all these things. And what I was doing is like, I was like, ugh. And this was a long time ago, right? I've learned And what I was judging is I was judging the me that I saw in them. And they might be able to ball out for the night and not go home and wreck their liver even more and drink, on these benders. They may just have fun in that moment. But I was judging the me and that person that I didn't like because I saw glimpses of myself in those people. And now that I've been sober for over 10 years, I've just learned, right, that, hey, you do you, I'm going to do me. Let's have some fun. I know when to exit stage left if it gets a little too crazy, the close talkers and all that. Anyways, but I learned a lot about myself. So this was really good. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd like to hear where your thoughts are, have a full stream of consciousness and take this time. So I'd like to talk to Mark. Mark, I met you and your brother, bro, and you guys have a similar mindset of growth, about personal development, about making sure that you guys are going into this game and really, really doing what you want for your lives and for your family. So I'd love to hear some of your thoughts, takeaways, or any questions that you might have for Chelsea. And then raise your hand too, you guys, if you have any input, thoughts, questions, or insight for Chelsea.
Yeah, to the team, I'm a new agent, and yeah, I have a twin brother. And honestly, Chelsea, appreciate everything that you have with self-love. I took a lot of pictures and I ended up like sending that all to like my family in a group chat. Because one thing that really stood out to me is that that talking part, the validation, coming to yourself and saying, yeah, you know what, I'm actually good. I'm okay. I've done a lot this maybe these past 3 days. I'm gonna sacrifice the other 2 days on the weekend. And that's kind of like what I understood about like routines and the discipline part. And that's what also like proves to me and my twin brother, when it comes to like the self-love journey, is that even though you try to just sacrifice those 2 days, they all accumulate and then they all roll over, and there's that snowball effect, and then you find yourself back to where you're at. So just like that story about me and my twin brother, like we were kind of like at this point in our life, we both have two kids. We both have a kid ourselves, and we're now at this point where we're kind of like fed up at this point. So like for me, I'm going all in when it comes to real estate. So, I really appreciate everything that you said, Chelsea, about, self-love, and yeah. So
No, I appreciate you sharing, Mark. Thank you so much.
Love it. Omar, you had your hand up, and then we'll go over to Colette. Omar, big dog, what's your contributions, question, or insight on the conversation?
Yes, thank you, Elias, for today, and thank you for being on here today, Chelsea. It's kind of ironic that you're our guest speaker today because about a year ago, I started this self-love, self-care journey. And I think for a lot of people, it's easy to take and like, oh, self-discipline. But for me, it was a lot of like taking time away from my normal everyday life and kind of sitting with myself and those thoughts that were creating all this like negativity, and trying to figure out what self-love and what self-care I needed. And I kind of wanted to know, like, what does that look like for you? For me, it was like, I know you said it was a lot of journaling and stuff. For me, it was a lot of like sitting in meditation and like sitting with my thoughts and journaling. So I kind of wanted to get your insight of what it kind of took you to figure out what you needed to change, or what, yeah, I guess what was it like to sit with your thoughts, or how you figured out what you needed to change, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing for me was just being so tired of breaking my own heart. Like I was just so exhausted of disappointing myself. I was so exhausted of saying I was going to do something, not doing it, and then feeling, ashamed or guilty or tired, or just feeling like crap. And so, I mean, do I journal? 100%. I've been journaling gratitudes for 10 years. I've been journaling my thoughts for my whole life. But I think that really where the self-love switched for me was when I realized that the highest form of self-love was self-discipline. Because when you're disciplined, you respect yourself. And when you're disciplined, you trust yourself. And when you're disciplined, like, so a side tangent, I know we got to leave soon. I just had my gallbladder out. And it was an emergent surgery, and I was an alcoholic. So having some sort of organ damage is to be expected. But for a really long time, they would tell me that I was eating terrible food, like don't eat fatty things. And that's what is causing this like pain. And so I had this story that like, oh, I must be eating something that's triggering this like insane pain. But in the last week, when my gallbladder nearly ruptured, I hadn't had anything because I'm a highly disciplined person. And so I wasn't eating bullshit. And so what had triggered it was my stress and the fact that I have a defective organ. And if I hadn't had that evidence, if I hadn't had that experience, if I hadn't had that level of discipline, I don't know that I would have understood or had the confidence to tell the doctor no. Right. And so this is where I think self-love becomes really powerful, is that when you're taking actions that align with what you say you're going to do, you become to an extent bulletproof, because there's no room for doubt. You know who you are, you know what you've done, you know what you've said. And so I think that that's the biggest piece with self-love, is I just don't want there to be room. I don't want there to be room for me to doubt myself, and I don't want there to be room for others to doubt me.
Wow. Really, really powerful. Love that. Omar, are you straight? Awesome. Colette, let's go to you.
Thank you.
And then we'll come over to Steffi, and then we'll wrap up our session. Colette.
Check, check. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. I think you just like saying that with your name.
I mean, I don't want to be blasting you guys out or something. This thing is huge right here. Thank you so much, Chelsea. I everything you say, every time I've seen you, and I've only seen you a couple times, but we've had some side chats on social and stuff, but I just appreciate your it's like you're just an open book, and you really, some of the things that you say just hit me in the heart, because it's so true to what I've been doing to myself. And I love to have fun. I love to, party, probably drink more than I should. And, I'm not going to should myself to death right now, but I'm a very serious person on the inside. I'm like I said, I love to have a good time and all that, but I know what I want in my core, and what I'm actually, it just doesn't align with what I'm doing. Some, my habits, which I'm working to change. So I want to put that in the universe with my word, and my actions. Okay. So I'm just working to get out of that cycle that you highlighted there. That thing is power. I mean, I took a screenshot. I'm putting that on the freaking bathroom mirror, because I have to stay out of that. So I thank you so much. I thank all of you teammates. Yesterday was incredible. It was amazing. I'm proud to be a part of this team. So thank you all.
Nah, Colette, you're the best, man. I love getting to know you on Instagram, and I would just say take it one day at a time. If you're shifting your entire life to align with who you want to be, it doesn't happen overnight, right? So it's one habit at a time, one decision at a time, one thing that you've said at a time. That's how it goes.
Love
All right,
this.
we got Ramel, right?
Yeah, Ramel, and then Steffi, and then I'm gonna close out. So Ramel, and then Steffi.
Hi, Chelsea. Hi, everyone. Yeah, that aligns perfectly with what I was going to express. Is you reminded me that it really is incremental steps that you do on a regular basis. Atomic Habits is still one of my favorite books that changed the way I behaved in a lot of ways. And it's good to just hear reminders from different voices that you aren't going to get where you're going automatic, just in one big step. You have to take action little by little. And that's one of my biggest discouragements, because I want it all kind of right now. And I spend a lot of time kind of self-critiquing why I'm not there already. But it's taking those daily disciplined steps, even if it's slow, just keep doing it, and you'll get there. And our brains are kind of like a wicker basket. We can get poured in with lots of great advice, great counsel, but it just comes out. And those few things you keep, you got to act on those, and act on them regularly. So
something that
appreciate you
helped me with feeling less disappointed by not arriving is to realize that a lot of the habits that we need to create, they're permanent. So like you don't work out until you get abs and then you go eat donuts and stop going to the gym, right? Like you keep working out. Like if you're somebody who sells real estate, you don't lead gen until you sell 5 houses and then, you know, fuck off for the summer, right? Like you have to keep lead generating. You have to keep doing it. And so when you stop worrying so much about the destination and so much about arriving and so much about the goal, and you start focusing on that journey and focusing on like, did you take one step forward today? Did you take one step forward again, like yesterday? Like, and those steps, you get to trust that they will accumulate to the result you want. And so like, once you've committed to it being permanent, like for it being forever, then it gets a lot easier. You're not in so much resistance because you're not waiting for it to arrive, right?
Powerful, powerful. Steffi, let's bring us home. You had a thought, contribution, or insight.
Thank you. Hi, Chelsea. It's so nice to meet you virtually, but thank you for saying like change your psychology, like the way you speak to yourself really matters a lot. At the moment I realized that like, damn, I am the captain of my ship, quote unquote life, my body and everything. I realized that like, why am I not proud of this dang ship? I'm the one controlling it. So that just resonated to me so much because like, girl, you're the captain. So I'm gonna take care of my ship as best I can, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today, and I can't wait to learn more from you.
I love that. I love it, Steffi. I am the captain.
That's right. That's right. You guys, I thought that this was timely because, as you know, as you attend Keep It Moving group coaching, this isn't just about KPIs and tell me your stats, your figures, and how many calls you've made, because I feel that's very surface level. I believe in my role, in Chelsea's role, that we're not in the coaching real estate agent space. We are in the human development space. And I learned that last year about myself, that we're here to develop humans. And if we can help develop the human become better, then that means in turn that better human can become then a better agent. So a lot of the things that we do are about mind, body, and spirit. And it's really the way that I have been taught, and it's the way that I want to teach in the future. And that's why I want to surround myself with people like Chelsea. I had my buddy, and you guys have heard stories about Jersey Tom. Jersey Tom was a quadriplegic for 7 months of his life. He had cancer that wrapped around the top part of his spine, and within 24 hours left him completely paralyzed from the neck down. Well, at 7 months in, he was able to come out of it and beat cancer and beat being a quadriplegic, right? When all the odds were stacked against him. Later on in life, 10 years later, he accidentally cut off his hand with the skill saw accident, and he almost lost his life. They had to rush him to Reno from Tahoe. But he is the most positive person that you'll ever meet. And he told me this once. He said, Elias, don't ever be a liar to yourself. And like, when we think about this conversation, in the context of this conversation, like, don't be a liar to yourself. Don't say that you're doing these things, and then you go home and there's like this thin veil of all the shit that you're not doing. But you said you were going to do this, you said you're going to do this. So there's no congruency in who you are as a human being, right? Like, I love my fiance, and I'm going to fucking do everything in the world to let her know that I love her. I love you guys. I love music. I love myself. Like, I want to, so it's not like I'm hiding anything. Like, I don't want to be a liar to myself. I love this create the evidence. Be honest to yourself, be honest to your word, and make sure that you are living congruently with what you feel and what you say about yourself. So Chelsea, I thought today was really, really powerful. Can I get some emojis on the screen if you guys felt that this session was impactful and if it was super, super helpful? Look at that. I love that. So Chelsea, parting words before we head out. Let's have you just take us off the field, and we have 1 minute.
Oh man, you guys. I think that, you know, the team that you are a part of, if you allow it, will be a huge part of your success. because being around people who care about themselves, being around people who pursue more, being around people who lift each other up, being around people who show you that what was impossible is quite literally possible, there's nothing like it. And so show up to these calls, be grateful for the leadership that you have, do your fucking best, and watch what you say to yourself, watch how you treat yourself. And those are my parting words.
I love it. Well, listen, I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to more sessions in the future. Thank you guys for being here, spending your valuable time with us. So as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, your goals, and your vision. Peace.